And we're recording.
We're
Good
live.
morning, everybody.
Good morning.
How's
Morning.
everybody feeling today?
Great.
Yeah,
Great.
feels like midday already, but we're here.
Well, that's because you get up at like 4 a.m.
Yeah, you were early up today too.
Yeah. I'm usually up at 5.
Yeah, I
I'm
usually
just
wake up at 4.
I'm up at 5, but that's specifically for my peace. So I'm usually not interacting with the world yet
Fair enough.
at 5 a.m. So
Yeah.
cool. Well, we have joining with us today Coach Carrie. She is one of our Ascend Athlete one-on-one coaches, all around awesome CrossFitter, awesome person, awesome coach. So we wanted to hop on here a little bit, chat with her, get to know her a little bit more. I've known Carrie for a while, but haven't like dove into her past much at all. So figured this would be a good opportunity for us to all chat a little bit and also introduce her in a little bit more of a public setting to, our audience at Ascend Athlete and the CrossFit world in general. So thanks for hopping on today, Carrie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So first, easy question. How did you start CrossFit?
Oh my goodness. Okay, so I think I started, like 11 years ago now. So my now husband, we were kind of acquaintances at the time, just had mutual friends, and we were Facebook friends and stuff. And I was kind of just going through, after college, I kind of went through like a year phase where, I lived a little bit unhealthy lifestyle, gained a bunch of weight and just wasn't eating right, just kind of like, not the best. And then I had come home and I was like, I'm going to make a change. I'm going to start getting into fitness. And I've always done sports my whole life. So I was like, I'm going to get in like the and LA Fitness and just try to like lose weight and get healthy, whatever. So I was posting a lot of stuff on my Facebook page, just sharing my fitness journey. And my now husband had reached out to me. He had started CrossFit in Magnolia. And about 10 years ago, there were some gyms in Houston. It wasn't nearly as popular as it was now. Like I remember when he first reached out to me, like probably 1 in 5 people had heard of CrossFit, so it's kind of back in those earlier days in Houston. And he was like, hey, you should come try this program, this fitness program called CrossFit. My buddy runs it. I just recently got into it. I think you'd love it. So I was like, okay, fun. Why not? Yeah. So I'm in Cyprus, and that's about a 40-minute drive for me to get out to Magnolia to try this CrossFit program. Short, I did day at this CrossFit gym and absolutely fell in love with it, and then was hooked ever since. And that's kind of how I started in CrossFit. And the first year was just taking classes and learning and, being a member of a gym, and that started my for it. And then very early on, though, I kind of was very attracted to the competitive side, and that's kind of where I early stage.
Okay.
What was your first open?
I didn't actually complete until probably 2014, which is 2 years in, I think, for me.
Okay.
Yeah, first that wasn't really. I mean, they talked about it, but it wasn't like this was the gym was actually the owner's house. They had like a really nice garage set up, so it was like a little bit smaller, But we didn't actually begin open until 2014. Branched off and started our own gym.
You started your own gym in 2014.
2014. It was actually 2013. So we were at that first affiliate for about a year. He went to college for exercise physiology. So that's always been his, major, and kind of what he's wanted to do is be in the fitness industry of some sort. He was doing like personal training and stuff early on, but then, we after doing CrossFit for a year, he very
She'll be back in a moment. Hopefully. Fingers crossed. Mahmoud, when did you start CrossFit? I never remember this.
I started in 2013. I started in mid-May 2013, and 2 weeks later, I did my first competition.
Okay. We lost you.
Yeah, we lost you, so we filled it.
Yeah.
So you said you built your first gym after the first year because your husband at the time, or husband now, was a major of exercise physiology. So you guys were already like dating or together at the time, and you decided to share or open the gym?
Yeah. So, I mean, the start of CrossFit, like when they're just friends then. And I know that's kind of like our love story too, is we would drive to cross that 40-minute drive. That's how we started dating.
Right.
And then we started dating during the end of that year. And then, opportunity fell into our hand. We got to start our own gym. I know that doesn't make a little backstory. There's a small gym out in Montgomery County.
Mhm.
They had like a 1,500 square foot, just small little warehouse space. And the owner, it was like a little private gym where you like swipe in your card and go use the, machines and stuff. But and she was like really into CrossFit and really loved like the idea of having that program. So she didn't really, the owner of this gym didn't really know anything about CrossFit. And then a mutual friend of ours knew that Michael and I were really big into it. And Michael had been coaching at that original affiliate we started at. So she pretty much introduced the two of us and was like, hey, I got this couple. They, he was coaching at the time. She's like, he can run this program for you. So she was so excited about it. Look, y'all can program in my space. And we kind of got lucky. Didn't pay on it. We just paid, percentage of sales went to her, and we were able to kind of start a little member base. And at that time, we were not affiliated with CrossFit. We just tried to get like a little group of people together and run a program, or, and that's kind of how it all started. And we went from like just putting out little handout flyers of like, I think we called ourselves MCG Elite Fitness or something like that. And we'd be out there with our box jumps and had our little rig set up and flipping tires, because it was like the thing back then. And people from that gym started seeing it. I was pretty big on social media. I always have been. So started posting about it, and it went from 35 and grew pretty quickly. And we just had our little group out there, and eventually we outgrew that space, obviously, like that smaller warehouse and that original agreement kind of past that, so about almost a year in, we decided that we needed to look for a bigger space and kind of move on to our own. But also we really wanted to become affiliated. So we actually became affiliated with CrossFit in 2014. And that's how Man-Made CrossFit started.
Oh,
awesome.
You guys are closing on 10 years.
Yeah, we'll be 10 years next year. So technically at the gym, we are 10 years because that first year we weren't affiliated. But yeah, we're so excited and proud of it. We from that little 5 members at this little garage to now our 6,000-square-foot gym out inside. So super proud of it and excited to be a 10-year affiliate.
And
it's crazy how fast it's
like. Yeah. And I already know that, but you guys are in Cypress, Texas, right?
Yes, Cypress.
Cool. Yeah, I mean, I've been to your gym. It's really, really cool. And it's I think I've only been to the new space, and it's a place that you're gonna, even from people that I know, I've heard the same comment, like you just feel like you blend in right away.
Just coming back slowly.
Y'all.
No, you're okay.
Yeah, I was just saying, like, people that I've heard from and myself, when I just visited your gym, you feel like you blend in right away.
Yes, yeah. We have an amazing community. Amazing community. We're so lucky. Yeah.
I from what I've seen on social media, you guys have a really, really great community.
We do. Yeah.
Cool. So what was the moment or kind of chain of moments where you were like, I think I can do this competitively for CrossFit?
Oh my goodness.
Or was it just all in from the jump?
Okay, so I guess I really got into competitive CrossFit from the beginning. And I always saw myself like, I'm going to be a good athlete on a local level. I never, and this is, my husband and I talk about this time. If I would have just believed in myself earlier on, I think I would have gone farther earlier. And I think I went through several years where I probably could have been on that next level, but just didn't believe it and think, oh, I'll never be a games athlete. I can never do that. Maybe I can make a regional. Maybe I could do this, but no, I'll never be a games athlete. And I always told I don't know why. never believed in it myself. So I think from the early on, I was very like, oh, I could do this and be good locally, you know, on a smaller level, but never imagined I could take it to that next step and go to the games.
Right.
And I'd say, you know, I did end up going to the games 2021 with a team. And I probably didn't even think of that level was possible until probably a year or two before that. So
I want to say, Carrie, like, I feel like your drive to get to that level was started in 2019 when they opened up the country champion.
National
And
champions.
I remember the whole you're posting about like Romania and all that, because you're originally from Romania, right? And you had some troubles, right? You had some troubles with qualifying and like with the paperwork and showing that you're originally from Romania. Just because I think at the time CrossFit wasn't very clear what they needed.
Kept changing it. I mean, it was like y'all know it's every year it's something else. So, but no, what actually happened the first year they did it, I actually just didn't know the rules. So I think they came out with national champions out of nowhere. You know, it was just like, whoa, there's 400 athletes now. And I actually remember because me and Michael and I were watching. We always at our gym would get together, watch the open announcements.
Right.
And I remember this. Alessandro Pacelli. This is 2019. Alessandro Pacelli was doing the announcement or competing or something, and we're talking about her, like the announcers, and they were saying, yeah, you know, she is, I believe, in Canada, but she was born in Italy. And they were telling that whole story. They're like, yeah, so she's competing for Italy. A lot less, you could qualify easier, and they explained the whole thing. So I just remember still my husband looking at me like, wait a second, you have dual citizenship. Why aren't you competing in Romania? And then it was like light bulb. They're like, oh my gosh. But at that time, that already started. So it was too late. I actually emailed CrossFit. I was like, can I change my country? And they said, oh, you have to wait till next season. And so from that moment on, it was just 1 year of we are going to make the games next year. And it was that until next season. And I had that mindset of like, I'm going to compete on Romania and hopefully get my ticket that way. Which, you know, I think the 75 women signed under Romania who I competed against, but there was one girl who had won national champion that year, 2019, and she's a good athlete. You know, me and her went on the 2020, the year that I actually competed to go. We were neck and neck. I mean, it came down to the final workout, and she's an amazing gymnast. Yeah, so it was like that refreshing the computer. You know, put my last score in and just held my breath, and I ended it. So. It was pretty cool.
No, that's a big achievement.
Yeah, I was very excited.
I remember I was a fan at the time. I was just watching your social media. I was like, who's gonna make it? Who's gonna make it?
Yeah, it was stressful.
Yeah, those were. Go ahead, Carrie.
Oh no, I was just saying. And then the year of 2020 happened, and we know how that year went.
Yeah.
And then fast forward to your teams games appearance. What made you think about that? Like, what shifted your mentality from, I mean, they did take away the national champion, but what made you decide, hey, let's try team?
Yeah, so they got rid of it after 2020. They stopped doing national champion. I kind of went through another phase of like, hey, like I don't think they had even regionals. Was it like it was
the sanctionals?
Sanctionals, yeah. So back to my old thing, like, oh, I don't know if I'll ever be good enough to qualify through the state, like through one of those. And because remember, like all the top athletes were just flooding these sanctionals. And it was like, you know, and again, I just kind of talked myself down. So I just didn't think I would have a chance individually. I've always loved competing on team. I actually went with, so I had some prior experience with the team. And then I had a teammate, my teammate at the time, me quite a bit at Man-Made. And, you know, he was definitely higher level athlete. And we came together and we were like, hey, let's try to get a team together. So I reached out to a longtime friend of mine, Sam Peters, who was my teammate that we competed with at the games. And we'd always kind of joke that we knew each other around the local competitive scene. I would say, hey, if we're putting an affiliate together, let's team up. And So I immediately contacted her, and she was out, and she was like, I'm in. And then we met our other teammate. I think the team that I was training with was he had met Cade, who was my fourth teammate, at a competition. And so we recruited him in, and the four of us got together and like, let's just a little bit like, could we get there? I don't know. You know, we went through the open, we went through quarterfinals, and we ended up doing amazing in quarterfinals. I think we finished, gosh, I don't know. It was like top 7, I think.
Nice.
Yeah. We were like seated really high going into semifinals. So then that's when it was like, all right, we're going to the games. Like, we're going to make it there.
Right. Have a little bit of that proof that you can do it. Maybe. I think it's proof. Anyways. For those who are not aware, Houston and the greater Houston area is a place of about 5 million people, and the internet is terrible everywhere. So, oh no, did we lose her? Oh no, Carrie, come back.
I don't know if she can come back.
Here she's coming.
She's coming.
She's back.
Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. I don't know. It keeps going out.
It's okay. Your internet's actually better now than it's been the entire time.
Yeah.
Okay. You just need a little reset.
So maybe that's what it was. I was just saying a little bit of that, like going through quarterfinals, get a little bit of that proof that you can make it, right?
Yeah.
So, and that can be a big boost. Sometimes you don't know how good you actually are until you go through one of the stages of qualification, and then you're like, oh, okay, like maybe this is actually possible.
Yeah, definitely.
So you kind of, it sounds like you kind of came up with coaching and being an athlete kind of at the same time, just from owning your affiliate and kind of growing as a competitor as well.
Also, you know, coaching my affiliate and running that too, and hand in hand the whole time.
Yeah. Awesome. Okay. So enough little history, change gears a little bit. Just some random stuff I think is fun to ask. What is your favorite weightlifting and gymnastics movements?
Oh, snatch for sure. And that's another thing. I actually competed in Olympic weightlifting for about 3 years, went to nationals, competed. I'm a huge Olympic weightlifting fan. I love lifting. But snatch would be my favorite lift out of all of them. And then what was the other one?
Gymnastics movement.
I mean, probably muscle ups. I love all gymnastics though. I love and there's not really muscle ups, bar or ring.
Oh, interesting.
I relate to that. I like muscle ups.
I mean, I like handstand walks too.
Oh, me too. Yeah, I do like handstand walk. I'm not as good at that though. I'm better at muscle, so I like it more.
That's interesting. For me, like handstand walks is usually if I see a long hallway, I want a handstand walk. I can't muscle up there.
You're such a CrossFitter, Mahmood.
I am a CrossFitter.
Yeah,
that's my tourist picture.
I enjoy handstand walking because it took me so long to be able to do it under fatigue.
It took me long to just get it.
Yeah. It just took me so long. So now anytime I'm doing a workout with a lot of handstand walking in it, I'm just like, yeah, this is awesome.
It's like a gift, basically. Like, oh, I get to do that.
Yeah.
No, I get that.
So you've been with Ascend for a little while now. What kind of, I know it's multiple different things just from conversations we've had, but what was kind of one of the biggest things that enticed you about coming on board and things like that? You were approached to come on board. That didn't kind of pan out the first time, but what about Ascend and coaching with Ascend kind of made you come back and be like, you know what, this is something I really want to do?
I think, especially like, you know, in my affiliate, it's a little bit different. As you know, like coaching in person is a little bit different. I never really done any remote style coaching. I think this really gives me the opportunity to work with competitive athletes. Like I the 3 that I have are, you know, really interested in competing. I mean, on different levels, you know, not necessarily like I go to the games or anything like that, but just being able to, and I do have competitive athletes that I train at my gym as well, of course.
Sure.
It really just, it's just that being able to just do that one-on-one where we just really focus on that CrossFit too.
Yeah, it's much different than an in-person setting, and it's also you do get some different kinds of personalities and athletes when people are coming to you like, "Hey, I want to be competitive," right?
Yeah.
Versus just, you know,
And
kind
they're
of the
invested in
general
that.
population.
Like they're paying money besides their membership at their gym just to get that goal. So like you're invested as much as they are, and it's a little different approach.
Yes.
Yeah, you can give them. I always think of it like you can give a competitive or a aspiring competitive athlete. You can give them a lot more of their vegetables than you can
Really good
a
analogy.
regular kind of GPP class member, right? Or somebody who just wants to be healthy.
Yeah, like they go in and they know like, hey, this might not be fun, but I'm gonna do it.
Sure.
Yeah.
Right.
Sure.
Well, I want to kind of expand on that, and like I wanted to ask you, being a gym owner and joining a company that is not necessarily based in your gym, do you feel like that scared you a little bit or empowered you a little bit?
Yeah, I mean, a little bit of both. And this is something that and that's kind of what I had to navigate through in the beginning. And that's kind of a little bit of why I, you know, originally had those conversations of joining Ascend, and there was just a little bit of hesitation. And what is that going to look like? You know, and I have spent many, many years developing our brand as
Right.
you know, man-made, team man-made. That's kind of been our thing. So, you know, definitely trying to figure out how to, you know, represent and be a part of both. We're still kind of trying to like figure that out, you know, and just
I
like,
agree.
yeah,
Like even at CrossFit Greater Heights, we're still trying to find like the balance where do we draw the boundary between both and where do we merge both together? And like, would that eventually lead to like a bigger community across the Ascend across the world? You know, like, can we get that into all of those gyms and get those gym communities to be in a one big like virtual community as well?
Yep. I always think about it similarly to just my previous experiences of being in the military, right? Like when you're in the military, you're in a company or like a battery, some of them are called. And it's like, this is my like daily group, right? Like these are my people. But then you're also part of a battalion and a division and all those different things. So it's kind of like, that's always how I kind of organize it in my head. It's like, hey, this is the Ascend is kind of the bigger overarching thing that CrossFit Gator Heights, CrossFit Man-Made, hopefully more affiliates in the future are kind of a part of, but our daily inner workings are CrossFit Greater Heights, CrossFit Man-Made, things like that.
And I mean, Tristan, you joined as well when CrossFit Skylab was still there. Skylab Fitness was still existing.
Yep.
Like you also had that same transition.
Yeah. And it was different for me even still because I kind of came on Ascend in a fast and furious manner. But I even then, when Skylab was still open, rest in peace, I would still write the programming for Skylab, maybe pull a piece from Ascend or two. Ascend was really in its infancy then too. Right. But yeah, so like those conversations I've had with Carrie about as she's went through this process and we're going through this process, like it's a weird thing, especially like she's said to me, they always wrote their own programming. I always wrote the programming for, you know, CrossFit Bay Area. And then when it was Skylab Fitness, and it's a weird thing we were just talking about this last week, Carrie and I, like, it's kind of a weird thing to let go of sometimes, writing the programming for your affiliate or for, you know, whoever that you're writing it for, because you feel attached to it in a certain way.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I think one of the things too that I'm like super excited about is, you know, having a team outside of Man-Made. Like, of course, my husband and I have a great team of coaches at Man-Made, and, you know, we work really well together. And, but it's really great, like part of Ascend now, like being a team with you guys, like just having more perspectives, more views, you know, and coach is growing too. Super excited about that. To have
Yeah.
even more coaches to collaborate with, and I think that's one of the main reasons why I'm like super excited to be a part of Ascend and to watch it continue to grow. Just to have this great team of coaches from all gyms and areas with different experiences.
For me, it's like an exchange program basically, but with like top tier coaches from all over hopefully the world, but like right now it's the state of the country.
Yeah.
So I also agree with that. Like I can see the benefit of it for me as a coach and for me to further develop my gym's programming and kind of use your guys' perspective to do that. But I want to kind of go back real quick to where you first, I don't know if she can hear me.
I can hear you.
Okay, where you first joined Ascend. You joined Ascend as an athlete first, right?
Not really. I mean, I did come on, I think, earlier talks. It was like, hey, just get on the blog and let's just start seeing the programming and stuff.
But also, I think like speaking to it, you after the games in 2021, you took a break. You had your beautiful twins, right?
Yes.
And then you started getting interested in Ascend when you were kind of getting back on track with training.
That's right.
Right.
Yes, because I work with Tara. Yeah.
Right.
Postpartum,
You started with the postpartum. Yeah.
Yes.
Can you tell us a little bit about that and how that made you more interested in Ascend?
Yeah, I mean, I remember, gosh, I guess I talked to Emily and she connected me with Dara. And she's like, hey, this is an amazing coach. So, I worked with her for about probably 3 months. I had kind of a, weird time after I had my kids. Came super early. They were actually 7-weekers. So they were in the hospital for, 2.5 months. Time for me where I was in the gym. Like I was, only able to go to like this little apartment gym and like barely like able to do stuff. She was absolutely, some days I just had my like yoga mat and like one thing, and she would be able to, she just gave me all these great suggestions and like different movements and things that I could do. And I definitely, like right after having babies, I mean, it is, especially being a former athlete, and I'm sure any other athlete, I mean, any mom could agree with this, but I mean, your body, the changes it goes through is just like, I was not ready for that. And it really helped to have someone in my corner that I could just text and be like, what do I do? Where do I start? And it's kind of crazy because, again, being an athlete and a coach for so long, and you're still, you get to this point where you're just like, I don't even know what to do,
Right.
So just to have her, I mean, she was, I recommend her to everybody. Was absolutely amazing in getting me back to just be able to fitness again, even at the lowest level. So.
And did you always know that you're going to compete again after? Yeah, because that's always a thought that I don't think any mom knows.
Yeah, no, not at all. I mean, and again, like that year, I mean, even this past year of the twins, being in the hospital, coming home, and then my husband and I went through like 2 months of just straight survival mode of trying to have twins at home. And, I was not, the fitnessing was not on my mind at all. Right. And even like getting back into my affiliate and just doing classes again and like, all I cared about. I was like, I'm just enjoying just being able to CrossFit, being able to move, and just I started being able to do some of these movements again. And at that time too, I'm like, the state my body was at, I was like, there's no way I'll ever compete again. I mean, it just at the moment it feels like that,
Right.
It wasn't until the Open. I mean, and when the Open rolled around, this past Open, I was pretty much back. I could pretty much do all RX movements again, and I mean, wasn't top of my game, but I shocked myself in the Open. I ended up finishing way better than I expected. And then of course, it was 2 weeks into the Open. I was like, I'm back. We're competing. Let's go. Next.
There we go.
That's all it took.
Yeah, I feel like you kind of fell back in love with like competing again in that sense of competition.
That's awesome. It doesn't take much to get the competitive bug back.
Once competitive, also always a competitive.
And now I'm just like overloading myself with comps. Like I'm just on a local level. Like it's like
I feel like I meet Carrie more in competitions than in meetings.
No, for real. Like I have like 2 or 3 every month. And I'm kind of thinking, I'm like, whoa, it's a lot. But I missed it. I missed it. It feels so good to be out there again. And
Right.
it's almost like a whole nother mindset too. Like I put so much pressure on myself back then, like before the babies. And then finally it's like I went through this and now it's like I don't have pressure on myself. Like I achieved my highest goal of getting to the games, like I don't have pressure. So now it's just kind of like train, have fun, and wherever it goes, it goes. I don't have the 4 hours I used to have to go to the gym and train and go do all these things. It's like I've got an hour and a half most days and I make the most of it. And then if that's enough, then that's enough. If not, I'm having fun at whatever I'm doing.
Yeah, it's not an all or nothing kind of deal.
Oh yeah. Yeah. It's yeah. And I have a good feeling about next year because of that too. I'm feeling I might probably do better than I ever have because I finally have that just like clear mind, and no pressure.
Yeah. I think there's two things that stand out to me from that. One is probably having an enormous sense of gratitude now too, for what you can do. Having come back from being immediately postpartum, not being able to do hardly anything. Now you're like back in action and like probably super grateful. And like, that feels great. And then the other thing, I think there is really something to be said for just taking off a little bit of that top end pressure and replacing that with like, just, I'm going to try really hard and I'm going to have a good time.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of athletes can learn from that. And it's hard, but oftentimes the results are just as good, if not slightly better, because you're just not putting all that expectation on yourself.
Yes.
So,
yeah, absolutely.
Well, all right. I think we'll wrap it up there. I feel like that's a good note to end on. Thank you, Carrie, for jumping on with us this morning, chatting a little bit. We'll put the link in the show notes for her coaching if you guys are interested in getting coached by Coach Carrie for the upcoming season. And we will also put in the link below some information on our postpartum programs for any moms out there who are looking to get back into fitness, not just moms who are competitive or want to be competitive. Afterwards, Coach Dara and Coach Veronica are fantastic at taking care of the new moms while they get back into moving. So we'll put that stuff in the description box or the show notes down below. And I think that's it. I think we'll see you guys next time.
Well, let me just give a shout out that Coach Carrie will be at the camp.
Oh, yes.
September 15th to the 17th. So if you guys haven't booked your spots yet, go ahead and do it. There's a lot to expect in that camp. It's going to be a great team that is presenting you with all the knowledge and coaching experience that we've had. And whether you're an Ascend athlete or not, you feel free or welcome to attend. We're going to put the link down there. But again, if you have any questions, reach out to Tristan, myself, or Coach Carrie, and we'll do the best to answer you.
Yeah. Or you can always shoot a message to the Ascend Athlete Instagram page. So
true.
All right, guys. Thanks for chatting. I will talk to you all later.